Divine greetings, entities, energies, lovelies, bodies of light, seekers and sojourners of truth. 144, chosen of the chosen few. You know who you are. I greet you in the love that lights the truth from my heart to yours. Happy, happy, happy Independence Day, Declaration of Independence Day, not today. This was actually on the 22nd, 5D Independence, and the 28th is the 5D Declaration of Independence. You can look on previous videos when I've done this before. I've done it on the day of. There was a lot going on this week. There was the full moon in Virgo. There was so much going on that I was doing, and I had my own personal little celebration yesterday for the 5D declaration. So, I didn't get a chance to get on the day of, but definitely some messages were coming through. I usually share the downloads and whatever that I get and share it with you all. So I want to talk a little bit about this independence, because this is the third annual 5D independence, and I want us to keep in touch with that, account of that, because this was not to be taken lightly on 2/22/2022 when the Pluto return came in. So before I get into all that, how dare I not introduce myself? I am Akila Textry, in the divine energy essence of it all, reporting to you live from none other than where? 5D, the fifth dimension. This is where the earth is, and some of us are in different dimensions of our soul self, but that's okay, right? Ultimately, we are all here for this shift. We have all chosen to come here at this specific time for this specific reason. Your spirit knew what it was doing when it chose this time slot to be in. Some of us were here at the start of this, and some are no longer here and have been gone, or have chosen to exit through the loopholes of the portals of purge, whenever we have a purging portal where some are choosing to exit. And for whatever reason, this is why we have to respect transitions, whether we understand it or not, in our human complex, right? Everyone is choosing to move in their time of what suits them. There are some souls that realize if they have not reached a certain point, a pivotal point during these pivotal times, they choose to exit to have the opportunity to come back, because we know that we all come and go, right? Spiritual beings in our highest selves, we know that we come and go. So let's respect these transitions. Those of us who are really elevating and ascending, we have to understand these transitions a little bit more. Do not let transitions bring you down, meaning when someone passes, it's a transition and their energy is passing on. But that's a topic for another day. I just wanted to put that in as we are ascending, and there's so much happening in the 5D. So let me bring us back to where we were coming from. So 2/22/2022 was when the Pluto return hit, where it was in its coordinates exactly of where it was on July 4th, 1776, and the exact coordinates where it was about 200 and something years before that, when another shift was made. And usually it's a shift in powers when Pluto returns, and you will see the fall of one nation and the rise of another all the time. So as I explained, even 3 years ago when this happened in 2022, 2023, 2024, this is the third one. I had to make sure, right, that there was a shifting of powers, and what was going down, all the powers that were, all right, and it was a Pluto return in America, the U.S. Pluto return. So that means, what have you been doing, America? Right? What has been going on? The revelation, Pluto was revealing the death to rebirth that Pluto brings. It's a shift of power, right? And so it was a time where it was showing us that with these coordinates, that who was going down? America. They already were. We already see it. Those of us who know, even though they're desperately holding on, because those powers, those desperate energies do desperate things, and they don't want to ever let go. But we have to stand in our sovereignty, those of us who are shifting into the new earth consciousness. So what was happening was, those powers were going down, and the rise of a new nation, the birth of a new nation, which is what? 5D, which means it belongs to no particular nationality or land, because we are all one, right? And the birth of a nation is us, right? So in 1776, that's when they had their America Independence, Declaration of Independence, which they had signed on a paper. But no, not 5D. We don't need a paper. We don't need empirical evidence, because we are entering into the fifth dimension. Everything is energy. Everything always is energy, but now it's being put on the forefront. We are seeing energy. We are feeling energy. We are being energy and in our energetic existence. So this is something, this Declaration of Independence in 2022 had nothing to do with paper, but it was an energetic seal. And this energetic seal was done by many who are working on the light grid activation, and wherever you were doing it, and in whatever capacity, especially if you were doing it in groups, different collective groups, which I call divine synergy. The divine energy were in collective groups as divine synergy. And some of us, I had a group that was personally working on the collective, the light grid, our local light grid, because that's what I was being assigned at that time. And if you go back to those videos, you will see it was a great excitement, because it was being shown to me and I thought it was for other people. So I'm typing up letters and sending it like, like, hey, sending it to people who already have a platform and they speak of 5D. So I'm thinking I'm just a messenger. I'm sending them the message. Nobody's responding. Like, I sent it to them like 2 days before. Nobody's responding. Till Spirit was like, you know what? I gave this to you. Why are you sending this out? So, of course, I was inclined to make the call, and I did. It was the first wave, right? There were a couple of waves after that. And when I say wave, I mean waves of, let's say, people manifesting and working on this light grid, bringing in this 5D existence. It's like the split was really happening, and it still is happening. It's even happening faster now, at a faster pace, because the frequencies are coming in and it's accelerating. Right? We are on an accelerated pace, y'all. This is like, you know, when they put you in, when you in school, because life is a school, and they put you in, what's the accelerated pace class? Like advanced. I can't remember the name of it, but you know, when they put you in advance, and you like, oh, I gotta do more work now because you're in an advance, you're in an accelerated pace. Kind of think of it like that. We're all being put on some type of accelerated pace, no matter what level you are on. So we got to be willing to do the work and clean up at whatever level we're on. And something I used to talk about a lot that was being shown to me, I got many downloads around this time. I wasn't eating. I was being guided to fast, and as the information was being put down through me, through I want to say either the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, that was my introduction to that. Like, I've heard of it, but I've never known till then, you know. And apparently it's because I had made my vessel so ready, because I had not been eating, I had been fasting, and I didn't plan it, but it was just intuitively being guided to not eat. I was literally only drinking tea for about a week, almost 2 weeks, and then the information just started pouring in. And it was even said to me, they were waiting on my vessel to be ready. You know, they were waiting on the available vessel. And so then it just started coming, and there was so much information. One of the things I remember is they were always saying the willing and ready light bodies, and not able, but willing and ready, the light bodies to be, we're all at our stations, so to speak. And our stations are wherever we were divinely appointed and divinely guided to be at our divine appointments, to these energetic coordinates. There were coordinates according to our energetic algorithms, meaning how we were living our life, how we were doing our soul work, and that determined where we were aligning and how we were meeting up with certain people, or even within ourselves. And we were working on this light grid, whether we knew it or not, because we are conduits of light. So as we channel in the light, you kind of got to look at this grid that's over the earth and through the earth, like meshed in mesh. And there's this light grid, you know, that we are working on and with, that is, let's say, filtering the light, bringing in the light, helping to stabilize the light. This light grid is also helping expand the bandwidth in which the range of this energy this exchanging interchangeable energy, the range in which it is going out now and reaching people who are in remote places. And when I say remote, I don't mean in just a physical geological location. I mean remote, mentally remote, universally remote, meaning within the universe of their mind. Because remember, the universe is in you. So within the universes of our minds, some of us were in remote places, and it means we are blocked by a lot of things that we have going on in our life. And sometimes, not sometimes, but what was shown to me is like by the third wave, like the first wave, when we did this in the first year, the first wave was successful in sealing the energetic grid. That energetic seal, let me put it that way, not grid. In working in the light grid, there was an energetic seal that sealed the field, the energetic field, or the light grid in which we were working on. And that seal is the official seal that we needed, not a piece of paper. So that the first wave of people who were working on it at that time, that means if you found yourself doing certain, let's say, energetic works that have to pertain to manifesting the 5D consciousness in some way, shape, or form, between the time of like 222 to 228 in 2022, around that time, then you were most likely working on the light grid. You were most likely working on the energetic seal of the light grid for the 5D Declaration of Independence. This is the new consciousness, new earth that we're giving birth to. And then the second wave was working on those who set the stones. Like it was the building stones, like they say, the four corners of the earth, like the stones as in setting the foundation, if that makes sense, for building the communities, or building possibilities, building pathways for those communities to come up. It was very groundbreaking around this time in 2022. And that was the second wave. And then the third wave was, when we worked on the third wave, and the first, to be honest, the first wave was like a double wave, back to back. We did it for the first 7 days, and then it was like the next 7 days working with the manifestation of the new moon, because the new moon was right behind it. And it was highlighting to use this because globally, a lot of people are doing new moon manifestation. So the vibration is even higher of the collective synergy of the people that are working on manifesting something new, even if it's just for themselves. The fact that you're doing it, each one reach one, teach one, it reaches out to the other, light bodies, and collectively we are all working on this, which is ascending our soul. And that's all it takes when you're doing your soul work, even individually. As we do it individually, it affects us collectively. So the more people that are doing that, the more it kind of reverberates. If we could see it in energy, it's like you could see the light, like brightening up over the light grid, or within the light grid, if you will. It's like, and they don't even know that they part of it. That's the great thing about it. And so the second wave was about building the stones, or the pathways for building a community. The community was starting to emerge in some way, shape, or form. And back then I thought that, we're really getting somewhere now, because we had a collective group. And of course today, where we are now, the group is not really the same, and kind of because people kind of fall into something and then they fall away. They get comfortable and they think, this is it. So they then just kind of simmer off and go back to life as they were. It's kind of like I'm hearing, as you were, and people just kind of went back. The third wave was about expanding the bandwidth. The third wave was about social interconnectivity, because the third wave brought in people from places that I didn't even know. And so I kind of saw that it was reaching out, and the more that we all worked on it, we were becoming individual lighthouses for whatever locations we were in, that was making a stronger signal, if you will, to help expand the bandwidth and the range for it getting to other people who may be in remote places. Again, not talking about location. So that was the third wave. So there was 3 major waves that really played a part. And then after that, we started working on like a forgiveness workshop, which I'm gonna do another one. I'm being guided to bring that up, because bringing us forward to where we are now, it is reminding me what I was getting in the download this time is reminding us to return back to those foundations and remember what we have aligned ourselves with. And I'm going to read that translation to you, as much of it as I can, and share that with you all, because I usually share the downloads. That's what I've done from the first year. I usually share whatever has come up for whoever it needs to hear, because as usual, I bring you the galactic news to infuse with if you so choose. As always, I always choose to infuse in choice. I always choose to infuse with the light. And that's one of the messages I got to keep saying to us, to please choose to infuse with the light. And that means be willing to step away from the darkness, because fears tell lies in the dark. And I mean the shadows of the dark, because not all dark is bad. We come from the darkness, because out of the darkness comes light, right? The light that we look at as Ra, the sunlight, the father light, really comes from the galactic center, which is the universe, the galactic center, which is way beyond, outside of our solar system, our sun's solar system, right? And we get messages that come from the galactic center through the sun. This is why we need the sun. We can only see it through the sun. This is why they say, this is why Christ said, see, Christ know more about the galaxy than we think, because Christ is of the universe, not of this earth. So this is why Christ said, no one goes but through the Son. No one goes but through the Father or the Son, however you want to look at it. The Son, S-O-N, Son, which is that Father masculine energy, right? Father time, which really comes out of the universe, out of the space, right? So it's like our sun represents the time that we're in here. We're vessels in time capsules, right? So it represents time, father time and space. We live in a time-space reality. So that represents the time, but that time comes from space, right? The space of the womb, the mother, creator, mother of all, because everything comes from that mother. So that galactic center is like, let's call it the mothership, if you will. We come from the mothership, and right, a lot of us come from different parts of the mothership. That's why some are all different types of entities. Don't think it's just one type of being that are here. A lot of us star seeds come from different parts, but please know it all comes from the mothership, the galactic center. And there are so many suns all around us. Like they teach you, every star is a sun. So we got a lot of suns. Sun. Which sun are you from, sun? So anyway, I digress to bring that back. Right, I just want to highlight, I'm so excited about Declaration. Every time I get to remind us, this is the 3rd annual Declaration of Independence. So for those who haven't heard, like I said, the first year that I did it, they'll catch on. If they don't know, like, you could think I'm crazy if you want to, but I know I'm not the only one that's been getting the messages, and we will all come together in due point in time. Because even the downloads was showing me there is a council of 12. And I put the message out, but I've yet to kind of see that council come together. But I'm seeing even now, as it was showing me, there is a council of 6 that will be coming through. So it could possibly mean, and a lot of us are finding our soul tribes now. So the soul tribes need to bond and come together and really solidify, because the more we come together, the more we bring about the birth of the new earth, which is really a new earth consciousness. The old ways are falling away. That split is definitely happened. That shift, we earthquaking up in here. A lot of us was feeling it in the last month, from January until now, like in this respiriting season, and we still have time to respirit. If you haven't, and you don't know what respiriting is, please take a look at my video about respiriting, because we're still in the respiriting season, and we are really going to shift into gear when spring moves forward. Because this is nature, this is energy. We're going to move forward, and some things that we haven't really quite worked out is going to take hold and take set. Now, how it takes set depends on us. So it's really requiring us to get into our soul self, doing our soul work, right? So this, as usual, that's what it was always showing. Remove the soot off of your soul. Do not get too held down by lower vibrations. Right? So raise your frequency, raise your vibration. The frequencies are accelerating. we're getting solar flares like, whoa. Remember, all the information comes through the sun from the galactic center. So from Mother Space and through Father Time and back here onto Mother Earth into the time vessels of us. Faithfully, you get what I'm saying. So it's like a continuum. Space, time, space, time, space, time, all the way down to a very molecular level, to the molecules in us. Space, time, right? So with that said, let me go ahead and share with you the highlights, the downloads from this beautiful 5D, third annual 5D Independence. I'm gonna tell you what I got. As usual, the message is, it is time! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, because it is time. Every now moment is a now moment because it is time in the now. So it's time to recommit to the community development for the forward movement and advancement of the social interconnectivity of the 5D New Earth consciousness. The new collective consciousness is forming and emerging as our transformation moves us around. Because remember, we're in transformation. As our transformation moves us around and we pair up in 5D, there are a lot of pairs happening now. A lot of pairs, right? So as we pair up in 5D, those who are being called to pairs through the shift, specifically to represent the divine masculine and feminine through this Venus-Mars exact conjunction that just happened, are also being called to a council of 6 as pairs. So you want to look out for that. I don't know who this is for, but you know who you are. There's a collective group that is to be coming together, and it's through pairs. You're going to see pairs, you know, every 2 of its kind, because it's going to help the balance of that masculine feminine energy. And that council of 6 is to kind of start setting the foundation and of what was being set from even before, right? So these being called to a council of 6 as pairs in order that they build, in order that they build and develop a community that communes in unity, to remind us of the groundbreaking foundations that were set in that universal year of 6, which was 222, at the start of the energetic seal for the 5D New Earth. So that was exactly what I was explaining to you during the Pluto return. We are all the resetting. We are the resetting of the stones. We are to reset them. So the resetting of the stones and building the structures. We are to be resetting. There we go. Let me clarify that. We are to be resetting the stones and building the structures that stand on a solid foundation for the new earth consciousness. Ones must remember their oath of allegiance to align to the divine coordinates according to their energetic algorithms of their soul's work as light workers, right? As light workers who have chosen to infuse with the light and reassign themselves as now light warriors to the light grid activation. So that's like reporting to your stations. Is basically telling you, get back to your station, get back on your spiritual work. It is not over. Do not get too comfortable. There is still light grid activation work to do, because as the frequencies are coming up, there's more work to do. Furthermore, let me finish before, because I will get into it. The 5th density light is accelerated and therefore causing a fast-paced forward movement for all. Chosen ones must choose. That's in all caps. Let me say that again. Chosen ones must choose. Right? Time is of the essence for willing and ready light bodies to transcend their transgressions. Let me say that again, because I feel like we really must take heed and pay attention to that. Right? Time is of the essence for willing and ready light bodies to transcend their transgressions. Right? As they release the holds of karmic imprints within the individual's soul, one onto another, that bears witness onto the collective. Right? So understand that we got to transcend. Like, I know sometimes I got to translate what's happening, because this is, like I said, I'm transcribing as it comes. So I even sometimes got to sit down and translate. So it's saying that we have to, those light bodies, we got to move beyond, transcend our transgressions, whatever they are. Remember, transgressions are just if you are continuing to sin. And sin is only, the number one cause of sin is forgetfulness. So we forget that we are members in love of source, love divine. We forget who we are. This is why it's important to know thyself. So in the remembrance, in the reconnecting and the remembrance, memories are this is about the memory complex. We are all a part of this memory complex, and we have to understand the divine orchestra of this memory complex, which is constantly being a part of the remembering. Every now moment, remember, remember, remember. Right? Not remember in the sense that we use that word, but remembering, being a part of the remembering so that you never forget, so you do not fall into sin, which just is a misstep or a mistake. And when you continue to misstep and mistake or sin, then you fall into transgressions. And so you're living in a life of just continuous transgressions. And then if you continue that, you are in an iniquitous state. And some of us are faulty of living in an iniquitous state that has been passed down through our lineage. This is why we're working really hard right now to remove it from our family lineage. A lot of what's being done right now is removing from the lineage, removing from the blood. The Dracon reptilian energy, it exists now within the lineage, within the bloodlines, and it's up to us who recognize it to basically do the work to suction it out. And that is by releasing the toxicities that are within the blood. Releasing, removing old patterns, old behaviors, old traditions, things that no longer serve us. Right? This is what we're looking to do with transcending our transgressions. I may have to do a separate video on that because I really feel like we got to break that down. So let me go back into what it's saying. So the light bodies, right, must transcend to transgress as they release the holds of karmic imprints, because we're all having that here. The karmic imprints within the individual soul, one onto another, that bears witness onto the collective to expand the mass consciousness. So all that's saying there is that there are holds. We have to release the karmic imprints that are here collectively and even individually, but most importantly, we have to work on it at an individual level, individual souls, one onto another, that bears witness, meaning that as we do it, then those around us will bear witness, and that's how it goes from one onto another, through bearing witness to the truth, right? As it extends onto the collective, and when it does, then it will expand the mass consciousness of the collective, and then further says, which causes the shift in timeline that is needed for the next reality experience. So for us to experience the next level, the next step of the 5D consciousness, this is what has to happen when it expands, when it reaches the mass. Even if the mass doesn't quite get it, the whole point is when we do that and they all bear witness, somehow it resonates. It's a truth resonance in the collective. They don't, even if they don't do it yet, but they recognize it, they realize it. And as long as the mass, as long as they see something, you can't unsee it. So it expands, and it expands that consciousness, and it causes the shift. So that expansion, that view, that spectrum that expands causes the shift in the timeline that's needed for our next reality experience, right? Basically going from the ideal must shift to the real, and the real must shift to the true. Right? This total shift must be, and this kind of came at the end of it, must be the total eclipse of the heart that replaces the old heart with the new and true, meaning things of the heart, meaning the subconscious, the soul, the heart of the soul, right? And this kind of interplays when it says total eclipse is what came to. It's like, oh, remember there's a total eclipse coming up, and I'll do a different video on that because this highlighted what may be very important about that total eclipse, right? So there has to be a total shift that has to happen. And mind you, this total eclipse is coming around the time of spring, where we are to spring forward, the true new year, where we are to spring forward. So I would speak on that further. This shift is what will bolster more to align with the true time reality. So it's going to kind of bolster that true time reality. That's the reality experience we want to ultimately shift in to help us catapult into the 5D consciousness, the new age that everyone's talking about, the new Aquarian age, and some say the golden age. But to be honest, as I said in a previous video when I spoke about the yugas, the golden age is not for thousands of years out. But yes, we are on our way to the golden age. We're just leaving the iron age and entering into the bronze age as we ascend in this epoch, in this new stage on the on that cycle, the yuga cycle, for those who are aware of that. Right? So this is what's going to help us align with the true time reality, excuse the noise, with the true time reality, which holds a higher charge to infuse with the 5D. So same thing there, to infuse with the 5D frequencies and activate a stronger infusion with the light grid. So that's the download. I shared it with y'all for the 5D declaration. So please declare something. And if you haven't had a chance to work this manifestation on the light grid, I can share it with some of you all because I am being led to make the call. So here it is. I'm making the call now. It's not for everybody, but if it is for you, you know who you are. Feel free to leave a comment so that I can contact you. I will leave a contact, possibly a contact that I can leave with you. I'll see which contact it is. Well, either way, you'll be able to contact me and I can give you the coordinates where we can work on this. Because just like we had a double wave the first year, I'm seeing a double wave this year. And we've worked on it for 7 days, from the 22nd to the 28th. The 22nd was actually Independence Day, like hey, it's Independence Day. And then the 28th, which was 7 days later after we had worked, pretty much manifesting, bringing this all down after we worked it. The 28th day was the day of declaration, because we had to work to seal. There was an energetic seal that needed to take place, and it did take pretty much 7 days of work. And then right after that, we did another 7 days immediately. It was like a double wave, boom, boom, back to back. And so I say that because this one looks like a double wave. It's not so back to back. This one is with the new moon that is coming up. It's going to be the 7 days with the new moon that is coming up, because as last year it was showing me that we are aligning with the new moon manifestations when it comes to the waves. The waves are just like that energetic wave. It's an energetic wave, and it's an opportunity for us to solidify. It's like we're bringing in the 5D consciousness every time we practice manifesting it in whatever way it works for you, individually as well as collectively. Remember, there's always power in the collective. So much noise on this street. Remember, there's always power in the collective. So the divine synergy is where we're going to be able to bolster this together. So with that said, there's the call. If it's for you, feel free to reach out. Happy 3rd annual 5D Independence and Declaration of Independence. Please declare your independence by thy works. Show thyself approved by thy works. And it really means that. So work towards that as best as you can. With that said, I love you all. Each one, reach one, teach one. If you don't know where to start in your big, beautiful heart. Shine your light from the inside out. Love and light.